Good afternoon, all of you. So, welcome you all in this platform of KSG, and let's begin the Prelims Connect discussion of today's. And the first question on your screen is about a rapid increase in the rate of inflation is sometimes attributed to the base effect. What is the base effect? This is something related to inflation. You must have seen in the newspaper, either it is related to inflation or GDP. Government or those policymakers, experts, this year the inflation is something higher side, or this shows a higher inflation because of the base effect. So what exactly the meaning of that base effect? If you see this option, the correct one is the C. It is the impact of the price levels of the previous year on the calculation of inflation rate. It is the impact of the price levels of the previous year on the calculation of inflation rate. The meaning is, suppose, let me give you one example. Government wants to calculate the inflation of this year in a particular quarter, then government has to compare the price level of that same quarter, but with the previous year. For example, suppose you want to calculate inflation in 2023 first quarter, then you have to compare with the 2022 the same first quarter. Okay. So the rise in price level of this current year gets affected by the price level of the previous year of the same quarter. This is what exactly the base effect. Base simply means the constant year or the previous year it is all about, and its impact on the current year, what we call the base effect on the current price level. Okay, this is what the base effect is all about. So this was the question which was asked in the previous year paper. Second, regarding the International Monetary Fund, as you know, IMF was in news from the last few months related to Sri Lankan economic crisis, Ukraine crisis due to this war. So this question was, regarding the IMF, which one of the following statements is correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 statements are there. It can grant loans to any country. It can grant loan to only developed countries. It can grant loan to central bank of a country. Now, C option is only member countries. Any country is something which is a vague one, it's not correct one. Because these countries, this institution, IMF, provides loan to the member country only. Those who are member, they can simply access to the IMF regarding their fund, and IMF can release that. So it's not the any country which can approach, rather than only member countries can approach. Okay. Which one of the following would include FDI in India? If you read all those options, subsidiaries of foreign companies in India, majority foreign equity holding in Indian companies, companies exclusively financed by foreign companies, and the fourth one is the portfolio investment. Even if you are not aware about all these options, if you have a little bit of idea about the portfolio investment, which we call the foreign institutional investment or the indirect investment, obviously you can eliminate this thing, and answer is what? 1, 2 and 3, because foreign direct investment also includes subsidiaries of foreign companies in India. That could be a kind of foreign direct investment. Majority of foreign equity holding in Indian companies, that could be a part of this FDI, and companies exclusively financed by foreign companies, that could be a part. Next question, in the context of Indian economy, open market operations refers to, if you see the previous year question paper, at least of 10 years, you will find twice or thrice this question have been asked. Either a standalone question or the whole question, or part of a statement, what is the meaning of this open market operation? Among these four options, if you see, uh, C option, purchase and sale of government securities by the RBI, and the role of this open market operation is what? Open market operation is known as the quantitative tools or techniques to control the money supply or inflation. This is number one. Number two, government securities are sold or purchased under the banner of this open market operation, either to, or simply you can say, to control the money supply in the economy and consequently to control the price level or inflation. The Reserve Bank of India regulates the commercial banks in matters of. Reserve Bank of India, as you know, regulates commercial bank as per the Regulatory Act of 1949. But what are those components on which RBI controls commercial banks? If you see the first option, liquidity of assets. Liquidity of assets in the sense, suppose discounting or rediscounting the bills of exchange, anything that commercial bank wants to have fund, then RBI can provide fund against any certain financial assets, let's say government securities. So liquidity of assets. Branch expansion. RBI, although if you see after this liberalization phase, if a particular bank wants to open a branch, then obviously no need to take the permission of RBI, which was there before 1991. But after this liberalization, when this Narsimham committee gave the recommendation related to banking reform, RBI came with certain reforms, and under that, no need to take permission to open a branch. But obvious, if RBI wants to control over a bank with respect to, or want to put restriction on the branch expansion, then RBI can do that. Merger of banks. Recently, the government has merged few banks, and the scale of operation has been increased, and that is under the regulation of, again, the RBI. Winding of banks, if I mean, one type of merging is, I mean, the you can say, suppose Canada Bank and Union Bank of India both are merged and operating simultaneously as a single entity or single bank. Another component or another type of this merging would be, suppose Canada Bank has been merged with the Union Bank of India, but there is no, I mean, there is no such Canada Bank has existed, simply it merged. One can example, you can quote those associate banks of SBI, State Bank of India, let's say State Bank of Maharashtra, State Bank of Baroda. So these associate banks were merged with the SBI. So simply there is no such entity which is operated now under the name of this State Bank of Maharashtra or State Bank of Baroda. So this is something we call winding of banks, are completely submerged into another bank. Okay, so if you see four options, then answer is obviously D. 1, 2, 3, 4 are correct. So that's it from my side in today's discussion. We'll meet tomorrow with some new questions, new themes. Till then, all the best. Thank you.